Kuzangpola, we'll be bringing you a short interview with the president of Druk Chirwang Tshogpa, Wangchhuk. Now, Wangchhuk, can you please tell me, why should people vote for Druk Chirwang Tshogpa?
Because Druk Chirwang Tshogpa is a people's party formed by people from very common background that believes that Bhutan should work for each and every Bhutanese and not just the privileged few. It draws its wisdom and principles from social democracy that upholds the principles of liberty, justice and equality. And I think this is what Bhutan needs. We have seen that more than 80% of our population are people who have got left behind in terms of development, in terms of income, in terms of opportunities in life. And we believe that Bhutan can only move forward if all the citizens are empowered, if the gaps between regions and dzonkhags and haves and have-not is addressed, if every citizen in this country enjoys basic fundamental human rights, if there is justice in the society, and if there are right conditions for people to pursue happiness. And DCT therefore is motivated towards working towards fulfilling His Majesty's vision of gross national happiness by not only giving a different perspective to gross national happiness, but actually taking GNH to the grassroots level.
Yes. Now, do you think that you have an edge over the other parties being a female president?
I don't believe I have an edge, but rather I think if people support me and my party, I would think it's because they believe in me and my party and our party ideology and manifesto and our objective. I don't think my being a female would put me over any advantage as compared to other presidents.
Now, a lot of people seem to think that the candidates in Druk Chirwang Tshogpa are young and inexperienced. Your comment?
I think that is a really wrong notion, because we do have a fine mix of professionals from different age group. We have those who are old and we have those who are young. But yes, I think 50% of our candidates are young. But I would say there is a difference between psychological age and chronological age. And science has proven that maturity does not come with chronological age, it comes with psychological age. So as far as psychological age is concerned, I would say all my candidates are really old and highly experienced, because these are people who have gone through a number of challenges themselves as people who come from very common background. And these are the people who would best understand the needs of people that we are going to be serving. And I'm very confident that given the opportunity, they would make dynamic leaders for respective communities. They would make dynamic representatives of the people, and they would certainly be the voice for the voiceless.
Yes. Now, what is Druk Chirwang Tshogpa's stand when it comes to the Bhutanese economy?
I think our economy is in the worst situation right now, where with over 78.65 billion, I think it is more than 80% of our GDP. This is certainly of a huge concern, and this has further, I think, also created a number of challenges in the country, such as the rupee crisis, which has made trade and lives of people very difficult, which has also created a lot of unemployment in the country. I think it has also affected the construction sector with the loans that have been stopped by the financial institutions. Druk Chirwang Tshogpa has consulted with various stakeholders, and we have put together a number of plans and ideas to address the current economy situation.
And can you just briefly tell me about maybe the rupee crisis? How do you suggest you solve that?
The rupee crisis can be solved. Number one, I think the short term could be reviving the Bhutan lottery. There are also possibilities of increasing the power tariff, which has not been increased in a long time. There are a lot of opportunities of encouraging a lot of high-end tourism from the neighboring countries. In addition to that, for longer term, if we want our economy to be sustainable, and if we want Bhutanese economy to be self-reliant, I think we need to create more wealth within our country. Almost everything that's there in our country is coming from outside. How can we become a self-reliant economy if even our basic commodities are all imported from outside?
Yes.
So I think for a longer term, there is really a need to encourage our private sectors to come up with new initiatives, to come up with new products, and whatever local commodities is needed in the country, we need to encourage that it is produced within the country.
That's like what? Like what sort of?
So like even to share an example, our basic need even as food commodities, rice and vegetables, on one hand, our farmers are not able to have access to the market to sell their products. But on the other hand, it is such an irony that we consume apples imported from America, when farmers on the other end are not able to sell the apples. I think this is a real irony. Another example is for the construction sector. We have a wealth of natural resources, but yet we end up importing even basic things like stone chips and sand from across the border.
Yes.
And if we keep on depending on import from outside, how can we work towards making ourselves a self-reliant economy? And I believe with the right leadership, with the political will and commitment, and with bold, innovative ideas, these are ideas that can be put into practice, and there is nothing that Bhutan will not be able to produce. With the right political will and the right policies, Bhutan can really work towards a country that is not only self-reliant, but it is also more prosperous, and where there is more justice and where there is right condition for people to pursue happiness.
That's now talking about, we just talked about the rupee crisis. How does your party stand to change or solve the youth unemployment problem in this country?
I think it needs both short-term and long-term strategy. The short-term is immediately we will need to work with the private sector and have in place special incentives and measures provided to certain private companies as well as foreign direct investors that has a scope of employing large number of youth.
Yes.
Secondly, I think there is a lot of work opportunities on one hand, but on the other hand, there are a lot of job seekers. The response to matching the job providers and the job seekers together is not job fair, because job fair is one-time event and that has not solved the problem. The response to that is we need to encourage professional recruitment agencies that would continually build local capacity, train them in areas where there are employment opportunities, and put them in touch with job providers that has a need for these kind of professionals. In addition to that, most Bhutanese youth by nature are not risk takers. We need to step up on more entrepreneurial development programs and encourage more young people to employ themselves, start up their own businesses, and create an enabling environment with provision of interest-free loans and build up the entrepreneurial skills and encourage them to employ themselves.
Yes.
In addition to that, I think for a longer term, there is definitely a need to bring positive reforms in the education, because there are a number of challenges in the education that is related to the youth related issues today. For instance, the type of curriculum and the education system that we have is outdated. Now, if we want to keep up with changing time and changing environment, I think we need to even review the education curriculum and bring positive reforms in the education system whereby we create more productive, creative, the citizens, and not just produce high number of graduates each year. We need more skills, expertise, and innovative ideas in our society so that these human resources can bring positive change in the country. We do not want to focus just on creating thousands of graduates each year who may lack the necessary skills for them to be successful in life.
That's well, I apologize, but the first point you made earlier, you said make opportunities so that private sector can employ a lot of people. How? Can you please elaborate on that? I didn't really understand.
For example, if there are business initiatives such as call center, which has a lot of opportunity of providing youth employment, we might have tax holidays for such companies which has the opportunity of employing a large number of youth. Today, there are a lot of private sector which has employment opportunities for youth, but most of them, share concern that we have no time to recruit young professionals and train them. We want people who are already highly experienced and trained. Now, on the other hand, I think there are two ways to address this. On one hand, as I shared, if there is a need for people in the entertainment industry, we could have professional training programs for people who could be trained as media professionals, as actors, as film directors, and immediately there is already an employment opportunity for them in the private sector. So we are addressing the current challenge where they are looking for skilled professionals by training them and then providing them to the job providers.
Yes.
So to address this, if DCT gets the mandate to form the government, we would like to initiate the Ministry of Gender, Youth and Skills Development. And this ministry is going to be looking at just building the skills of our youth, so the unemployment challenges because of their lack of experience and skill is addressed. And it is met.
You're talking about actually forming a new ministry.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'd like to move away from some of the problems which you're facing in the economy and ask you that what Druk Chirwang Tshogpa's foreign policy is.
I think DCT would continue to promote and nurture the very important relationship that we have with India. I think our kings in the past have put in a lot of effort in strengthening our relationship with India, which I believe over the last 5 years has been to a certain extent affected. DCT attaches a lot of importance to Indo-Bhutan relationship, and we will further continue to strengthen our relationship not only at government to government level but also at people to people level. Besides maintaining a very good relationship with India, I think it's also important that we explore the opportunity of strengthening our relation not only with the neighboring countries but the international community of nations. I strongly believe that there is so much to be gained for Bhutan if we focused more on promoting the image of Bhutan in the outside world through information diplomacy. This is something that I really believe that in the information age, this is an area that where we need to move beyond multilateral and bilateral diplomacy and embrace public and information diplomacy. Because of some of the challenges that the country went through in the 90s, there are a lot of misinformation about the country in the outside world, and not many people have the right perception about the country. I think that image needs to be addressed, and that can be addressed through effective information diplomacy throughout the world, which can be effectively carried out through respective embassies abroad. I also believe that for Bhutan to be able to discharge our foreign policy objectives very effectively, we need a professional foreign service cadre. Currently, the Foreign Ministry is under the Royal Civil Service Commission, but I believe that for them to be able to discharge their responsibilities effectively, we need a separate foreign service cadre, and our foreign diplomats, our Bhutanese diplomats, have to be professionally well groomed for them to be able to discharge their responsibilities effectively as diplomat overseas. I think it's also important that the ambassadors should be professional diplomats and not political appointees, because there is a huge difference between a political appointee and professional diplomats who go on to become ambassadors, because having gone through that experience gives them a wealth of knowledge and experience that they can best represent the country as ambassadors.
So, Lily, can you please tell me a little bit about Druk Chirwang Tshogpa's manifesto?
Druk Chirwang Tshogpa's manifesto has been formulated following a number of consultative meetings and interaction amongst a wide section of the society. And the key objective, the vision that is the objective of the manifesto, is to work towards creating a society where there is more equality, liberty, justice, harmony, unity, and with enabling conditions for people to pursue happiness. Now, we have 12-point areas under our manifesto, and to share really briefly, number one being how we would like to create a more vibrant democracy. Now, to create a vibrant democracy, we want to uphold the provisions and the sanctity of the constitution of the Kingdom of Bhutan. We also want to ensure that the government is transparent and accountable, and we will correct a lot of systemic problems in the system which does not otherwise help government in being transparent and accountable. We would also like to strengthen the Bhutanese media so that they can function in the interest of democracy without fear and favor. We also believe that it's important to enact the RTI Act, which will enable people to have access to government information. We also believe that there are a lot of systemic issues within the judiciary system, and I think there are a lot of room for also strengthening the judiciary system, which might need to be looked at. We believe that to address corruption, we need to tackle the root cause, and to tackle the root cause rather than fixing individuals, I think it's important to correct a lot of systemic problem that is deep-seated within our system, and that needs to be corrected as well. Number two is a vibrant economy. To promote a vibrant economy, I think we need to create the right conditions for private sector companies to develop and grow. Number three is rural prosperity. We will particularly focus on communities and dzonkhags and areas where development has not reached, so that these communities and dzonkhags which are lagging behind can move forward quickly and join the rest of the nation in moving forward.
Nice.
Likewise, we also have, I think, creating a vibrant, harmonious society is another key objective that we have. We are a GNH country, but on the other hand, if we look at number of challenges that is in the society, there are a number of challenges: unemployment, teenage pregnancy, substance abuse, alcohol-related problems, domestic violence, only the people who are homeless, orphans who have no place to, where they don't have care, the disabled. There are a number of challenges, and we believe that all these problems that is there in the society are all interrelated and interconnected. Now, if we truly want to take GNH to the grassroots, these are issues that need to be recognized as problems, and these are issues that need to be addressed. We need government policies to address this. Yes, the NGOs have done very well. There are a number of NGOs that are addressing these issues, but I think it's, as a GNH country, it is also the responsibility of the state to have not only policy but also to have budget for addressing these kind of issues and challenges.
Nice.
So that is another one that we have. In addition to that, we also believe in women empowerment because 50% of our society, our population being women, we cannot ignore the fact that women are lagging behind in all spheres. So we want to come up with a lot of women empowerment schemes so that they can contribute more productively to not only to the lives of their family and society, but also to the nation.
But let me ask you a little bit about...
But I have more.
Maybe we can talk about that in another forum. Let's talk about what the ECB says. The Election Commission of Bhutan actually says that it was the parliament who endorsed the provision of having 2 demkhungs in Gasa.
Yes.
Now, do you think that was the right decision, considering that Gasa has become a stumbling block for some of the political parties?
Well, I think if that was decided in the parliament, we should only respect that. And I think just because Gasa is the smallest dzonkhag, I think it would be unfair to have only one representative from Gasa. While Gasa is a small dzonkhag, I think because of the physical landscape, the population is scattered. You know, upper and lower Gasa, you know, in terms of landscape, the population is very scattered. And I think it was really important to have two candidates from Gasa. While it is a huge challenge to get candidates from Gasa, you know, there are a number of graduates from Gasa. And I think knowing that Gasa is a small dzonkhag and a difficult dzonkhag to get candidate, I think one needs to plan well in advance. And as far as Druk Chirwang Tshogpa is concerned, we were the only party at the time of registration that had both the candidates from Gasa. In between, we lost both the candidates as well. But we again worked hard on Gasa, and we managed to get two more candidates from Gasa.
Well, I'd like to thank you so much for your time. That was Lily Wangchhuk, the president of Druk Chirwang Tshogpa, with us on BBS. Until next time, this is Tenzin Rapke saying bye-bye.